Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Saturday, September 19th, 2020. What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. Today, I am really tired. I'm so exhausted. And I did do a lot this morning, but I blame my exhaustion today on my kids. They are indefatigable. I don't know if you say that word right, but they have just an endless amount of energy. And my wife and I have been just trying weekend after weekend to really tire them out, make them just exhausted. And we've just been exhausting ourselves. So they are testing our parental endurance, I guess. And I'm so tired. We went this morning after I ran, and then I'll talk about that today too. But I did a bike ride, but then I came back, we had breakfast, and then we went out to Backbone Park again, but we went to a different spot. There's like a little lake in that park and like a sandy beach area, and they've been wanting to make sandcastles, so we made sandcastles. Then we went on a hike. And I thought between all that activity, all that excitement, they should be tired, but only my wife and I are tired, and the kids are like literally bouncing off the walls here. They're like running back and forth. They are chasing the dog around the house, and the dog is old and tired, and he's not really excited about it. But yeah, my in-laws are like, we're getting out of here. I mean, they had plans this afternoon. They were going to go out for a drive, but they're getting out of the house. Oh, yeah. Crispin Greco, you are in the right live stream today. Plant Power Dan's here. Sean Marshall, Jackson, Rain Runner. We got Steven Gersdorf. Martha's here. Luis Becerra. Luis Becerra ran on 11% grade hill today. I mean, that must be an old road. I don't think they make roads like that anymore. Wow. Bert, like I says, don't blame the kids, blame your genes. Yeah, I mean, that's funny. Yeah. Martha says she has this buff. Awesome. Yeah, it's the Kofuzi buff. It's like buff weather now, or kind of. So I just been enjoying it. I like wearing buffs. I'm a big fan. I just enjoy them. I like wearing them as scarves. I just like having them on. All right. Not really Hank Aaron says wakey. Awesome. JC says is here as well. And his Dunbar says, as Martha says, cowbell for Kofuzi. It seems weird to do a cowbell for myself, but I'll do it. Today, and thanks guys, but I had did the 5K time trial because I wanted, well, not a time trial, I guess it was a virtual race. So I did the trial of miles cross country competition. Competing in the Great Plains region, since I'm competing in Iowa. And the time for today was 19:25. I couldn't remember exactly, and then I freaked out because, and I'm actually still not sure, how many miles is 5K? I ran 3.12 miles, I think. Or at least I thought. I stopped my watch at 3.12 miles. I think that's a 5K. I hope it's not 3.14, but that's pi. I don't think it's pi. I don't think that a 5K converted to miles is the same number as pi, or that close to pi. But anyway, hopefully that counts as a 5K. And then it's 1925, so it's not like I wouldn't count it as that is a kind of a PB for me. 1925. No, my previous record was personal record was 1943, I think, maybe 1941. I want to say 43. Maybe it's 48. It was 1940 something. So a little bit of an improvement, but I mean, this wasn't on a course, so it was basically using my Stride foot pod. So I ran that distance, no more, no less. Like on a real course, you're weaving around people, that kind of thing. So, but then you also have the excitement of coming down the final chute, people cheering you on. So I'm not sure which way it weighs in between, but, the time, was 1925. So I'm feeling really good about that. And I had a hard time breathing, let me tell you. I don't know if it's just the change of the seasons or what, but from all of mile 2, I just felt like I couldn't get breath from the bottom part of my lungs. It just felt like there was mucus in there. So hopefully I'm not getting sick. Let's knock on wood. I'm not sick. But then the last mile I didn't really have that problem. And then I finished, and then I did my usual dry heaving because it was tough. I don't really run 5Ks all out. And I don't know if I was all out on that, but it was a hard effort. And I ran in the Atreyu, the artist shoe today. Their new racing shoe, like it's like double stack height, and it's got a carbon fiber plate in it. So I don't know what the stack height is on it. I did email them and ask them what the stack heights are. And I think I haven't checked the email. I do think I got an email back, but it's definitely going to be road legal for marathons. I don't know if it's going to be track legal for like what are the events that everything under an 800 meters, I think, is what they have restrictions for. But it was a good shoe. It was a really good shoe. I would say, if anything, it might. I'm not sure. I'd like to take it on a longer run before I officially say this, but preliminarily, having like raced a 5K in it, I want to say that I'd like to see a little bit more rigidity from the carbon fiber plate. It might have been like too thin. That's the only thing that I can really say. How's everyone else's Saturday going? Plant Power Dan says there are 3,147 glute activations in a 5K race. I did do some drills to warm up, before this 5K, which I don't always do. I felt like that helped. My leg felt great the entire time, and then maybe at mile 3, so I had like the 0.1 whatever left. At that point, then my leg started to kind of like, oh, there's my leg. It's starting to do something. It never bothered me though, but I kind of felt it a little bit. So I felt like, all right, it held up the entire time, so that's good. Martha says, Kofuzi, I used to feel that way on 5Ks. Usually couldn't feel like I'm getting deep breaths on mile 1, almost puking at the end. But once you train more specifically for them, that would change. Yeah, I just think that it's just like, it's kind of like, not that it was clogged up, it's just not accustomed to being like used that fully. And so like I just don't breathe that hard. 909s and me says, hey Kofuzi, been watching you for a year almost from Spain. You inspire me so much. Love. Awesome. Thanks, 909s. Glad to have you here. Rainrunner says, I ran for the first time in 12 days today. Never taking clean air for granted again. Well, cheers to that. I'm glad that you guys are able to get some running if the air quality is improving out on the West Coast. Sean Marshall got a good 6-mile hike in. Awesome. I don't know if you guys can hear that. My kids are like chanting. They're screaming at something downstairs. Grandpa's like yelling at them. I don't know what's happening down there, but the kids have just an endless amount of energy. Luis Becerra says, Kofuzi, if you ever come to Tijuana, you'll see why we have this type of great hills. Oh, I guess I can imagine that. All right. So Stephen Groversdorf says 5K would be 3.1 plus 22.53 feet. All right. So then I definitely did enough. That was my biggest concern. I was like, I better make sure I get it. I better make sure I get that at least 3.1. I was like, but is it 3.11? I thought it was 3.12. So that's kind of like where my head was at. So I'm glad I at least got it. Bert Leguez says, 5Ks are 4 minutes of running too fast and then 15 minutes of suffering. Yeah, I tried to definitely pace myself a lot more on it. The first, 100 meters, I definitely went out way hard. And then I was looking at my power meter. I ran with using the power meter as my guide. I was shooting for like it told me that I can run like 269 or 270 watts. The Stride did for my 5K kind of race prediction. And I started out probably at 300 something. And I was like, well, this is a little intense. So let's dial it back. And then, because my goal was to run anywhere between 260 and 265 for like the first 2 miles. So I haven't looked at the data. I'm not sure exactly how well I did it. Sometimes I was right at the number I wanted. Sometimes I was way over. Sometimes, so it's all over the place. I'll have to take another look at it. James Nelson says, hey Kofuzi, should I get the Pegasus 37 or the New Balance 1080? Just recovering from an ACL tear. I need some real help. I'd probably go with the New Balance 1080. The Peg 37 is a little bit stiffer, and so I've not had an ACL tear myself, but I'm thinking that you're probably going to want something that's a little bit more forgiving, and I think the 1080 would be more forgiving than the Peg 37. Mark Weston says, hey Kofuzi, came across your channel a few weeks ago and really enjoying the content. Thank you. Awesome, Mark. Thanks for coming by, and thanks for joining us on the live stream today. Stevie76 says, along with RBG, Robert Gore, who developed Gore-Tex, also passed away. Oh, it's a double whammy for the weekend. Yeah, it was a weird night yesterday for sure, hearing about that news. Yeah, and then like getting on Twitter was probably a mistake. I didn't write anything. I was like, this is not a great time to be writing tweets. That didn't stop a lot of people from writing tweets, though. But I don't know. All right. Steve said, I thought you did a 12-mile cooldown run. Missed the bike symbol. No, I did an hour on the bike to cool down today. I was originally planning to just run for like another half hour after I'd done the race. But fortunately, my sister-in-law had stopped by yesterday while she was walking her dog, and came with my godson, her nephew. And they stopped by and we chatted to them. You know, we were on the deck, they were outside. And they were like, oh yeah, like my her daughter, my niece, had like a softball game and a soccer game all in the morning, and that's the exact park that I was gonna run at. And I was like, oh, what time does that start? And she was like, well, we're supposed to have kids there at 7:30 in the morning. So I was like, oh man, now I have to get there a little earlier. So I got there with time to warm up, do some drills, run the 5K, and then pretty much like by the time I did that, like the parking lot was full and there's kids running around in soccer cleats. You wouldn't think that there was a pandemic and that we're in a county that is our red zone as defined by the White House. But we are. But it didn't look like that. There was way too many people there for my comfort level, so I got out of there real quick. And then I came home and I did an hour on the bike. So that's what I did today. Yeah, I don't know why did I bring that up? Oh, the 12-mile bike ride. Yeah, I was just going to do like 30 minutes running, but I was like, once I got on the bike, I was like, might as well do an hour. And I didn't bring a camera with me today, which I've done like every other day. And so I could actually like ride the bike properly, like putting both hands on it. And that was much more enjoyable. I think that like I just get very caught up in the filming when I'm on the bike, and there's just so much more speed involved. And yeah, so I think that's definitely been a distraction as far as my ability to enjoy exercising on the bike. So I think I might try and not bring the camera along. I don't think we need it. I don't think I need it. I'm not sure. We'll see. Maybe on a day, if bicycling is the only thing I'm doing that day, maybe I'll bring the camera. But if I'm running and biking, maybe I'll just do the one. Kevin Scott says, I'm really going to struggle when the world goes back to normal and there isn't a Kofuzi daily live stream. Well, Kevin, I don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon. So we don't have to worry about that for a while, I think. Let's see. Someone said they got in a 20-mile bike ride today. Oh, Matt Aragon said got in a 20-mile bike ride and a 5-mile run this morning. That's good work. That's a big day. Let's see. Sean Marshall says, yo, what's going on? Matt Aragon says, does math work for cyclists? I'm not sure. I don't know. I find it very hard to get my heart rate really high today. Like today, my heart rate on the bike was in the 140s for, I think, and even above my like math number for a while. And I was like, because I was like kind of like, oh, this is kind of nice now, not riding with a GoPro or a selfie stick in my hand and just cycling. And my heart rate finally got above like 145 for like a sustained period of time. So like my heart rate never really got that high. But I guess if you're doing like sprints and like just charging up hills, you can easily overdo it heart rate wise. I would imagine it does work. Not really, Hank Aaron says, in terms of the red zones, the White House is the red zone. Yeah. Let's see. Someone said something about... Oh, Stephen Gersdorf said, did anyone see the Tour de France? Last competitive day, and it was amazing. I haven't watched any of it. Do you know what, though? But that's consistent with me. I don't think I've ever watched a full day or even like a recap of a day of cycling, so like Tour de France cycling. It's just not something I've ever been interested in. Yeah. Rainrunner says, Vancouver is my second favorite city. Beautiful, friendly, close to mountains and sea. Vancouver is basically what I think is Adventure Bay. If you guys, kids, watch Paw Patrol, I'm pretty sure that like the original creators of Paw Patrol, I mean, I think the animation happens in Canada. I'm pretty sure, because at the end there's like some sort of like Canada something 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 like logo in the end, and certain words rider says with a Canadian accent. And it's some of those words, like, I don't think Canadians real. I think when like cartoons are made in Canada, there's a big effort to make it not sound like they won't say like a boot, they'll say about. They'll like make a really great effort to do it. But sometimes certain words still come out like Canadian, and I definitely hear it. But I feel like they're definitely modeling. I think they're modeling Adventure Bay after Vancouver. Although, like what's that guy? The guy that works in the lighthouse. His brother is like French Canadian, so maybe it's more like Montreal. I don't know. But when I think of Vancouver, I think of like the backdrop of every like Lifetime movie. So I just feel like I've never been to Vancouver, but like I've been to Seattle, and I think they're pretty close. But Seattle is a city I feel like the same way, where I feel like it's all just one giant elaborate set. It's a very clean city. I'm like, a city this big should be dirtier than this. I don't understand what's going on here. This is not real. And there's like water, there's city, there's airplanes, there's old, there's new, there's trees and mountains. So everything's there. I'm like, there's a little bit too much of everything. It seems not real. And then like any Lifetime movie, my wife used to watch Lifetime movies all the time. And therefore I used to watch Lifetime movies all the time. And like every movie looks like it was shot in Seattle, or I'm guessing Vancouver. I think I probably need to go to Vancouver now and check it out. All right. Recycle on Wednesday says, my knee hurts from making an abrupt direction change to avoid stepping on a rodent carcass. It felt like an apt metaphor. That's funny. I'm sorry about your knee. I hope your knee's okay. Charles Ventura says, hey, I've been running at MAF 180 minus age and managed to build to about 35 miles per week. I want to start running some hills, but afraid to get my heart rate too hot. Yeah, so I think there's a couple ways to approach that. One is I think that the pure Maffetone approach would be then don't, right? I think that's what he would say. I think that there's the way that I would approach that is if you want to, go for it. I don't think it's going to help in your Maffetone training, though. I don't think it's going to help with your low heart rate training. If anything, it may even slow it down. And I don't think it would hurt it, but it's certainly not going to help it. And my general recommendation is to like hold off on any of that kind of stuff until you're like getting into some race specific training. That being said, like right now there are races wherever you are, maybe there aren't, but now is a great time to like, if you feel like doing some hills, go out and do some hills. The way that I've lately been approaching them, who was I listening to? I forget. Maybe it was Duck Tran when it was in the Extra Mileless podcast. I forget who I was listening to, and they were talking about it, and they said that they will kind of allow themselves to get even up to +5 when they're going on an uphill. So I've been just paying very little attention to my heart rate, because right now, like my mind's perception of easy and my body's perception of easy are kind of in sync, which is pretty cool. And so whatever I just feel like running is easy is usually like right around MAF, if not a little bit lower. And so like when I come up the hills, I just take the hills somewhat easy, and then I end up being at a little bit over Maffetone. But if you're really going to do like hill work, then you're going to be pegging, depending on how long they are and how long your recoveries are, near max heart rate. So that's a very different kind of workout. Just be aware of that. And it does build different things. But in terms of like building that like aerobic base, it's definitely not. So. Mr. Random says, I did my first long run in the Saucony Endorphin Speed today. Does the Boston 9 have a similar feel as the Speed on the heel? But I do understand why so many love the Speed. In the heel, I would say no, because the heel on the Endorphin Speed is still really tall. I mean, the Boston 9 is much lower to the ground, and you're getting a lot more road feel. The Speed is very insulated from the ground, and that's kind of its point. But I guess the dynamics are somewhat similar. But I mean, if you put a lot more boost to make the stack heights the same, I don't think that they would feel identical. So that's a little bit different there. The Boston 9 also kind of flares out at the back a little bit. to give you a little bit more stability. So it feels a little bit more planted. Elaine Gallego says, hey Kofuzi, just got a pair of New Balance 1080s. Went in to get some Beacon V3s, but they were out of stock. Should I have waited for them to be in stock, or the 1080 is going to feel similar? Well, they're going to feel pretty different because the 1080 is Fresh Foam X and the Beacon 3 is Fresh Foam, or Fresh Foam Ground Contact to be more specific. The 1080 is going to feel a little bit bouncier. So I feel like the way that I describe it is like if you took the regular Fresh Foam and put a little bit of like racquetball material in it to just make it a little bit like just super bouncy. That's kind of the feeling that I get from Fresh Foam X. So it's like cushion, but with some bounce. Yeah, I don't think that those are like a bad second choice, but I also think that you might even want to get both of them. Then use the 1080 version 10 for most of your longer days. I mean, both can be used as daily trainers, but then the Beacon 3 you can save for a little bit of faster days as well, because it's going to be a little bit more nimble. It's lower to the ground. I like getting up on the toes at least in the Beacon 2. I haven't run into Beacon 3 yet, but I think they're still pretty similar from what I understand. And so you might still want to get 2. I don't think it's wrong. So like if you needed a shoe and you wanted to get a shoe and you came out with the 1080, you got a good shoe. So, and they're pretty similar. There's differences, but yeah. So it is and it isn't similar, I guess, to answer your question. Let's see. F says, you ever get knee pain running in the Nova Blasts? I don't think I did. I was worried that I would, just because it was so squishy. I felt like it was just doing this under my feet all the time. But it never gave me any problems. And the more I ran in it, the less like that like lateral like squishiness kind of went away, and it was more just like a really nice this way squishiness, forward and back. And so like it got better over time for me. Kevin says, neutral trainer recommendations for a bigger runner, 6'4", 190, running 25 miles per week with a 10 to 13 mile long run. I mean, we've been mentioning the 1080 version 10 a lot today. I think that's a good one. The Triumph 18 or the Triumph 17, also good choices for someone that's a little bit taller. So things that have like a little bit more stack height to them and a little bit firmer. I also think that a lot of people with those kinds of numbers tend to also really like the Infinity React Run or Infinity Run React. That's another one. I think the Peg 37 might even be a good choice with you, assuming you can get like a good fit in it. It's a snug shoe, but because it's got so much React midsole foam in it, I think that could be a really good one for a taller runner. Let's see. Leona Wong asks, endorphin speed versus Hoka Bondi for starting out on MAF training? Thanks. I would go with the Bondi, because you're going to be doing basically a lot of, not shuffling, but it's a lot. You're going to slow down a lot when you're starting out on MAF training. And so the Bondi is going to be a lot better for you. Stevie76 says, what do you think happens to Division I distance runners after their college career? Do they continue running like Seth, or do they stop and do other things? That's an interesting question. I had that conversation with Emma Abrahamson. I don't know if you guys watch her on YouTube. She was a runner at Oregon. And I had the opportunity to meet her before last Chicago Marathon. And, she has been documenting her journey as a Division I cross-country athlete. And then afterwards, these days she's training for a triathlon, which apparently she had done when she was younger, in junior high school, like very, very young age. She's from San Diego, so that kind of makes a lot of sense. But, I was like, what I've seen from a lot of runners, because she was like, this marathon thing, it's way longer than anything I've ever run. It's kind of crazy. And I'm like, what I've noticed is from a lot of Division I runners is like afterwards, they either like go get like if they're not going to go pro or try to go pro, they go get like a regular job and become like an adult. And the running is in their past. Maybe the people that they work with might not even know that they were a Division I runner. Or at least in other words, like some of the most elite runners in the country. And then the other thing to do is that those Division I runners will then go do something very different from whatever event they ran. If they were cross country runners or 800 meter runners, 400 meter runners, sprinters, they won't do that same thing because there's always that like that shadow of themselves that is cast upon them. So it's like you're always kind of like, oh yeah, look at that. They're done with college now. Now that they're 23, 24, they're losing their edge. You know, there's always that kind of always hanging over it. And you're not really trained, unless you're pro, you're not training like you did in college. And so it's like like an impossible standard to live up to your younger self. And, you know, or some people just take a break and maybe they come back to something similar, but they take a long enough break that people are like, okay, yeah, I don't have to like hold you to that, or I don't get to hold you to that same like collegiate Division I standard anymore. And she was like, yeah, I should have taken a longer break before I started running up again. Because I think she's had some like starts and stops where she hasn't been happy with running. And I think that there's a little bit of that to it where I feel like she should have done one of those things where you do something different. Because there's like the people that follow her are people that are her age, like people like younger adults. And I think that their natural inclination is to like be very blunt in pointing out when she's not as fast as she was when she was in college, which is like, you know, so what, you know, but I think there's a lot to live up to in that. So that's what I think happens to them. They either like leave running or they do some other thing in running. If they're not, or the third option is they continue kind of doing what they are, if they're going pro or coaching, you know. But I mean, like, do they continue running like Seth? I mean, you remember Seth, I don't think he ever took a break from running. I mean, he was always running competitively. He was racing all these people locally in the area. But I mean, when I first met Seth, like he wasn't running on YouTube, you know? So, I don't know if there was like, if he I don't actually know if he took a break from like training. I don't think he was training as hard as he is now, but I don't think he was like, you know, like, I'll run like 10, 15 miles a week if I feel like it. I don't think he was like at that either. MC1796 says, hey Kofuzi, I noticed you follow my running club on IG. LOL. Leona Track Club. How'd that happen? I don't know. I think it's because I saw Leonia and I was like, oh, New Jersey Track Club. That's cool. So I think that's how that happened. It got like, I probably got like suggested to me. I was like, cool, follow that. Let's see. Sean Marshall says, look at Molly Seidel. She's a huge exception, but seems that her injuries indicated that while she is way fast, the shorter distance were not for her. Had to change up distances big time. Yeah. Yeah, Sean Marshall also says, well, before that, he said, I'm sure post-college runners go in so many various ways. It's not the easiest industry to make a career out of, from what I can tell. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And I think with what, like I don't want to call it an assault on Division I track programs, but with like them always being like least favorite child status generally in athletic departments. And then now when there's even less money to go around, it's going to be even harder. It's going to be really hard to kind of figure out. And, you know, I hope that what happens from this is not so much that there's more of a, like, I don't think there needs to be like a semi-pro or like some sort of other like not Diamond League, but maybe like a Bronze League. I'm not like suggesting that. But I'm thinking like with the new way that like social media and like the running sports are kind of intersecting, and like things that we're seeing with like NAS Elite and other pros that are leveraging social media really well to coincide not only with their brand but also with their sponsors. I hope that creates more avenues and opportunities for people that are on those kinds of bubbles where that might not be like the cream of the crop in terms of Division I, but maybe on certain events that take a longer time to develop towards, like the half marathon and the marathon, that like the different way that athletes are interacting with fans and the way that they can bring sponsors into it. Hopefully that creates new opportunities. And so maybe at events we see more like racers that are like, you know, maybe it's like Stanford versus UCLA, or like if it's like a Pac-12 kind of meet, and then you have like a whole bunch of like unattached people. You know, I don't know if that's possible or not. But I don't know. That's what I'm hoping for. I mean, I just hope that there's more races and more opportunities for people to race. So that way it's not like your options aren't like, all right, well, I've graduated, I'm not going pro, so maybe I'll go work in like the running shoe industry. And then, maybe I'll hop into a master steeplechase at some point. I'm hoping that there's some other avenue that people can find ways to compete and develop. Because, some of these, like a college career may not be enough time for some of these sports for people to become excellent. Stephen Gervzor says, American professional sports leagues suck. I think, yeah, they do leave much to be desired. For sure. Let's see, Shomar says, I agree as well. It's more interesting how people can reinvent themselves. Yeah. I think Temporary Dan was saying, I like to see people turning a direction in their careers. We're better off when we don't specialize and stay in the same environment. Not to say we should go from pro to rickshaw driver. Yeah. Not really. Hank Aaron says, I want a Kofuzi cooking show. I'd love to do that. I just don't have the space for it right now. Like, to set it up, I think it would just drive my in-laws crazy. Luis Del Pozo's here. He says, hey, I'm back. What's going on, Luis? How you been? All right. Andor Kish says, how do you go about planning on what type of run you're going to do every day? It's pretty easy. Most days it's just an easy run. It's just how much time do I want to spend. These days my leg's kind of feeling funny, so it's a bit limited. So if I went longer one day, I'll go shorter the next. And usually it's pretty much the same thing. Just go out and run easy. When it comes to doing workouts, my favorite kind of workout is kind of loosely what I call a fartlek, or something that's 2.5 minutes at threshold pace and then a minute to minute rest, and do that 8 to 10 times. So it's basically kind of a little bit shy of 8 by 800s, at not a super hard pace, enough to feel like I'm working that aerobic threshold, getting some lactate into the system and working on clearing it. But that's usually my favorite workout, because it's not hard to kind of apply. I don't have to go somewhere special. I can just do it on my regular routes, and just go. So that's kind of how I do most of those. So most of the runs are kind of the same. Some of them are longer than others. And right now, since I'm not specifically training for any kind of race or distance, I just kind of run for whatever I feel like. So it's liberating and also terrifying at the same time. So I understand where that question's coming from. But another thing is, the way I look at it is I try to think of how many miles do I want to run this week, and I'll kind of divide it up. Maybe I want to go for a longer run on a Saturday, so that means Friday I can go a little shorter. So that's kind of how I do that. Roadrunner Review says, first impressions on the artist. When do you think you'll post a video? I'll have a video up tomorrow about it. It's not a finished shoe. It's still in production. So what I have is a test version of it. I think it's a near final sample or near final edition. So it's still pre-production. So I'm not going to be too hard on it. But it's a lot of fun to run in. Someone said that they thought that it was a 24 and 33. I think, where did it go? It was way earlier. Millimeter stack height shoe. So it looks like it's super thick, but it's not super thick. At least in the forefoot, 24 millimeters. That's not that high. That's what the Ultra Escalantes were, weren't they? But it just looks so tall for some reason. But it's fun. It's got, they told me what kind of material is in the midsole. I don't remember what it is. It's not, Pebax or Peba. But they're saying it's a squishy, but bouncy material that's something like it. That's what they were going for. I don't know if it's ultimately going to become Pebax, or not. But, I really enjoyed running in this shoe. The two things that I would say about it is I'm not sure that it's a racer, even though it has a carbon fiber plate. The one thing I think it could be a little bit stiffer in the carbon. But if I'm running a half marathon or a marathon, it might be the exact right amount of stiffness too. So it just might be which race is it 2 and 4? For the 5K, I was kind of I wouldn't mind a little bit more of a little boost with each step, but this like the springiness, the sponginess of the foam was very good. Absorbed a lot of impact. The upper is the same. It's just ported straight from the regular Atreyu shoe. So the comfort is there. I like it. That upper always struck me as being pretty snug. Almost a racer fit anyway, but so I thought that worked well, and I really enjoyed it. I even had to get it on the grass for a little bit too, and it's a slick bottom. It's a racing slick. Like from a car perspective, there's no tread. It's just a sheet of rubber on the bottom. There's a little cutout in the middle, like towards the middle of the foot, but it was good. It was good to run on. And I don't know if they're going to switch out the foam material or if they're going to change the carbon plate. I don't know how many more changes they're going to go through with the shoe, but it worked for me. And I'm looking forward to taking it on like a 15-mile run, like a 10-mile marathon pace run with like some warm-up and cool down on the end. I think that it'd be really nice. I feel like it reminds me a lot of like, oh, this is a good training shoe that I can race in kind of shoe. That's the feeling I got from it. Well, that pretty much gives away tomorrow's video, but it helps me put together my thoughts for it. But yeah, it's a good shoe. And you know what? Here's the big kicker. They're going to sell it for $100. It's insane. That's not like a special price. That's not like a whatever, a promo price. That's what they're selling it for. I don't even understand. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, Sean Marshall says, I'm pumped to see it up close. Yeah, I'll get some. I mean, I guess I should take some after footage of it too. I normally don't. I normally, for like the first run, I'll take footage of it before and then run in it. And then I'll like hold it up and talk to you guys about it. But I don't know, maybe I need to take some of it afterwards because it got pretty crinkled up. So for those of you who don't like wrinkles in your midsole foam, this isn't the shoe for you. But it's pretty interesting. I don't know how much I'd pay for. I wouldn't pay $250 for it. I don't think it's a $250 shoe, but $100 is just bonkers. So bonkers. Yeah, MC 1796, $100. I don't think I have that wrong. I'll double check before I make tomorrow's video, but I'll go back and look at my emails. But I'm pretty sure he said I was selling it for $100. Yeah. So I mean, it's like, well, part of that is like there's zero waste. The idea is that there's zero waste in terms of like their buying. So like they don't have to guess as to how many they're gonna sell. They know exactly how many they're gonna sell before they sell it because you have to buy it ahead of time. So I think, yeah. Arnold Ellis and Caleb Fowler confirming that it's $100. Yeah. Sean Marshall part of me wonders if there are long-term negative effects of the carbon plate. Yeah, I mean, that's something that I was thinking about. It's a question that comes up every time like a new carbon fiber plate shoe comes out. Can I train in this? Is that bad if I train in it? And I don't think that there is necessarily anything wrong with it. Like carbon itself isn't wrong. I don't think. I haven't heard anything about that. And I feel like if that were something there, especially like in the early years of like the anti-vaporflies, remember that? When everyone was like, carbon fiber is like cheating. Now everyone has carbon fiber. I feel like we would have been like, and you can't run with it all the time. It's going to mess up your shins. I haven't thought about that, but I haven't heard anything about that. But I did think about it a lot because I'm like, I think that this is like, I think I like this the new Atreyu shoe more than the regular Atreyu shoe, and I might want to run in that like on a regular basis. Will it be bad if I run in this on a regular basis? So I'm not. Yeah. So I mean, we might. Arnold NLS says, if carbon is wrong, I don't want to be right. Rain Runner, what shoe we talking about? It's the new Atreyu, the racing shoe that they have. Yeah. It's a big, the thick one. Yeah. Martha says, I think the Saucony pairing makes sense. Train in the nylon plate, which is subtle and allows a natural stride. And if you want more aggression, race in the carbon sibling. I like that a lot too. I do like that a lot. It makes a lot more sense to me. And it also has the benefit of giving two options for people too. The way that I'm using it is like, I do have the Endorphin Pro, but I like being in the speed because I just don't think I'm like utilizing that Endorphin Pro to its full potential. So I just feel like there's a lot of it lost on me. Whereas I feel like I'm using 100% of that Endorphin speed shoe. So it's just like, depending on your running style, I guess, you have one that will really suit you well. So that's another thing. Roadrunner Review says Adidas needs to make an SL20 SL20 carbon plated higher stack shoe. Not a crazy amount of stack though, maybe like a 30-20. I would try it. I mean, isn't that what the no, the Adios Pro is not that, because it's some other foam. It's not Light Strike. So I don't know what foam is in there. I still don't have a pair. I don't know when. Is anyone getting those actually? Are they selling that, or is it just, are they out? But I'd like, I was hoping that's what the Adizero Pro would be. But Adizero Pro, did I say that right? Adizero Pro, but it's not. And then I don't think that's what the Adios Pro is, but I would like it. Instead, I think what they gave us is the RC2, which I think is like the SL20 is more of the trainer and the RC2 is for the racing. And the only difference that I can tell is the upper is more like stripped back. It doesn't have all the stuff that the SL20 upper has. And the stack heights are shorter. I think that's it. I'm not sure. Plant Power Dan says, I'm waiting to see someone do a time trial comparison video of the Endorphin Speed versus Endorphin Pro. It could be me. That's a good idea. I like that idea. That's an interesting idea. To see like if I am getting benefit out of it, or if maybe just thought, interesting. I'll have to think about that. Kelly KJM says, I'm 26 years old and I exercise, but I never run since high school. I'm really into running now, but I don't know how to start. I need some advice because you're so inspiring. Awesome, dude. Well, I'm glad you're running again. I would say my advice would be to run today so you can run tomorrow. So what that means is don't focus on any one workout, but focus on building good habits. And what's tempting for a lot of people to do is like you run the first day and you're like, oh yeah, this is hard, but it's the first day, I'm okay. And then you run the next day and you're like, nah, I got this and I'm going to run hard. And then day 3, you wake up and you're like, ooh, I'm really sore. I think I'll take a couple of days off. And then you lose momentum. So I'd say just make sure that you can run, so you don't have to run every day, but so that you can run consistently and build good habits. And I'd say that's probably the most important thing to do for you right now. And don't worry about the time. Don't even worry if you're walking. Don't worry about like the distance. Just get out there every day and make sure you're doing it, and do it in a way that's enjoyable every time. And be kind to yourself. You don't have to go kill yourself the first week in terms of like running really hard. You'll get there. You'll get those opportunities. But that's what I would say. Go for it and just enjoy it. If you want to, I would say things that helped me also were joining Strava, because then I had like somewhere I can post like my running stuff every day. That wasn't necessarily like my social media, because it's like my family didn't really want to see me and what I was posting like running wise. So I had like a running space. So Strava was really good for that. And it was a way I can keep myself accountable, and it gave me like a weekly tracker of my miles, which I thought was very reinforcing in a positive way. Now it might be in a little bit of a negative way, but initially in a positive way, where I was like, okay, I got to make sure I'm out there regularly so I can get that weekly number high. Those would be my thoughts. All right. Someone said something. Roadrunner Review says, did you see Ed's video of the Adizero Pro yesterday? I was waiting for him to go off on it, but he held back and was not a fan on it. I didn't see that. Well, the pink one, like that, the big thick one, because I can't keep the name straight. There's the shorter one that has just a little bit of boost in the back. That's the Adizero Pro. The taller one with the carbon fiber rods, that's the Adios Pro, right? I saw that he had a pair of those. He's got a pair of everything lately. He's been getting some nice shoes. Yeah, I haven't watched that yet, because I'm still hoping to get a pair of them. So I try not to watch anyone's videos about a shoe that I know or that I think I'm gonna get. But anyway, Sean Marshall says, any idea where I can find a reissue of the Hoka Clifton 1 that's still out there, reasonably priced? I don't know. That came out like 2 years ago now, almost 3 years ago now, I think, right? So yeah. I mean, you're not going to find it like on StockX or anything like that. So eBay might be your best bet. I didn't really like the Hoka Clifton 1 re-release. I don't know. I didn't get it. I think it's because I never ran in the original Hoka Clifton 1. So that's it. Yeah. All right, let's do one more, and then I gotta get going for the day. I think we're gonna have Happy Joe's Pizza for dinner, and we're gonna take the kids through the car wash. There's something going on in the neighborhood. We're not sure where it's coming from, but there's like something getting on everyone's cars in the neighborhood. I think it's from there's a company down at the end of other one end of town over that way that they do like powder coating, and they like make fences and other like metal stuff, and also wooden fence posts and stuff. Anyway, sometimes there's a real strong tar smell that comes from there, and it doesn't reach up here normally. But there's a baseball field right next door, and whenever I've been watching games there in previous summers, you could like smell what they're doing. So I think it's coming from there, but I'm not sure. No one's sure where it's coming from. But like, there's like a little film of stuff. It's kind of sticky on everyone's car. So we're gonna run the car through the car wash today. Rain Runs says we need a pizza sound effect. That's a good idea. What's a pizza sound effect though? Maybe I'll get like from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like it's pizza time. The way I said that, it sounded like it was from Mario. But anyway, like, yeah. Do the Mario Brothers ever eat pizza? No, they only ate spaghetti and meatballs, right? Well, at least on the live action show. I don't think we ever see them eat anything besides flowers and mushrooms in the video games. Do they? I'm trying to think. I don't think so. Anyway. Yeah. My parrot answer, the pizza sound effect will have to be a nom nom nom. Maybe. Rainmar says Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles without singing. I think so too. Running out of that pizza for dinner last night. Yeah. Arnold Anna says, nah, you gotta use Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man Pizza Time. Does he say that? I don't remember that. Khaled says, in terms of, yes, I need to make a good habit in terms of getting up running. I think the first good habit I did was listening to you. Awesome. Thanks. I will do it from tomorrow morning. Thanks, Kofuzi. Well, good luck. Keep coming back. Let us know how it's going for you. If you run into any problems or have questions, there's lots of people with lots of experience running in the live stream here that are very eager to help out. Sometimes I see a lot of the chat go by where, I'm like, you guys are just talking to each other, and it's a conversation I want to be in, but like I know you guys are talking to each other, so I like to let that go. Here's a question that I had. Someone mentioned yesterday that sometimes a live chat doesn't appear on the side when they watch this like after the fact. Has anyone else experienced that? Because if that's true, there's a way that I can make the chat show up on the side of the actual video itself, so that way everyone that watches it later can like kind of watch them. But I'm very concerned that like the lag, because I think you guys have experienced it, where like the time that when you guys write a comment and when I might be able to see it, there is a lag there. Like I worry that lag is going to just throw people off, because you'll be looking at this screen and chatting with other people, and the timing's like all weird. I don't know. Let me know if that's something that you guys are interested in. Brit Nicole 248 says, I've never seen the chat watching it after the fact. Okay. Leona Wong says, I can't see it afterwards. All right. Well, I think Rainwater says, I think it takes some time to show up after the live stream ends. Interesting. Plant Power Dan says, but you should figure out what Seth is doing. I like how he puts the question up on the screen. I like how he does that too. I saw that the other day and I was like, how's he doing that? So I gotta go and like look up some like how to live stream. I bet you he's got something else that makes it a little bit easier for him to push some buttons. I'm just using OBS, like the free version, to handle this, and I'm definitely underutilizing it. So that's a good point. I should go like watch Seth a little bit more critically and see what's going on with that. See how I can do that too. I do like it when I can read the comment along. Like that's nice. Yeah. And then you guys can see when I'm paraphrasing people's questions or comments too, because sometimes I do that for language reasons sometimes. But anyway, so things I'll look into, definitely. And I'm going to go revisit and see if in some older videos I can go see the live chat, because I think that's like the best part of this is your guys' conversation too. Because it's not just me talking, it's me interacting with everybody here. Or you guys interacting and me kind of like moderating it, kind of. That's what makes it good. You guys make it good, not me. Anyway, I think that's a good place to end it for today. I got some work to do. I'll work on continuing to make this live stream better, because from the way it looks like it, we're going to be doing this daily live stream for a lot longer, which is a good thing. I mean, it's a bad thing kind of, but it's a good thing. So we'll get it better. We'll make it a more enjoyable experience. In the meantime, I think tomorrow, guys, I'll have the video about the Atreyu, but I think tomorrow, speaking of doing a lot of live streams, I think I'm going to take tomorrow off. So there won't be a live stream tomorrow. The 3 o'clock time frame is really hard for like when we're doing stuff with the family. So I think I'm going to not do one tomorrow and kind of see how that feels. So we'll have a video tomorrow morning, but we won't have a live stream until Monday, if that's all right with you guys. All right. So no live stream Sunday, but live stream Monday. And that'll be 3 o'clock, same time. We'll do a Monday mukbang. We'll figure out something weird to eat, maybe, or just a lot of something to eat. We'll figure something out. And hopefully I'll see you guys then. And until then, hopefully you guys are safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.